Is FedEx Ground worth it? Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my 5 pros and cons of FedEx Ground. And we're getting started right now. Pro, small fleet feel with big carrier stability and support. For example, if something's wrong with the truck or I need some time off, I can just call my fleet manager or my fleet owner directly. Con, FedEx Ground controls the fleet owner's trucks more than normal. For example, if you are a FedEx Ground contractor, you have to govern your truck at 65 miles an hour. You have to have a camera system installed in the truck that looks in the truck and outside the truck. And whenever they tell you that you need to get new tires or an inspection or wash the truck, you have to do it. Pro, terminal to terminal. Every night when I leave here, I go to Jacksonville and I know what I'm gonna be doing. I know the route. It's a straight shot, and there are no deadhead miles, which is important if you think about becoming a contractor at FedEx Ground. From what I've been told, it doesn't pay that great, $1.30, $1.40. I don't know if that's with or without fuel surcharge, but the consistency of it makes a big difference. No deadhead miles at all. If it says it's 285 miles, it's 285 miles. That's what you get paid for, and that's what it normally is within 1 to 2 miles. Con, mostly night driving. Most people don't like driving at night, but if night driving does not bother you, then FedEx Ground might be the place for you. Now, there are exceptions to that. But normally, most of it consists of night driving. Pro, flexibility. You can drive teams, you can drive solo, you can do spot, you can do wildman, or you can be a contractor. I'll give you an example. A spot driver normally does drive during the daytime, and they will go to a distributor or a shipper receiver and pick up a truckload of whatever that product is, let's say Chewy dog products. And then they will bring it back to the terminal, and from there, the trailer will be downloaded and distributed to the other trucks going to different various locations. Now, a lot of guys, they'll do a spot run during the daytime and also do a night run. Or you can run Wildman. Wildman is pretty much where you're not on dedicated freight and you just go wherever you need it. Con, pulling doubles. Now, pulling doubles is not that terrible, but it is more work than pulling a 53-footer. It takes more time and effort to connect, takes more time and effort to disconnect, and there are more things that can go wrong if you find yourself in a situation you can't back up. If the load is unbalanced, you can feel that all night when you're driving. It's a little more of a challenge when it's windy, raining, inclement weather. So just something to keep in mind if you think about coming to FedEx Ground. Reward points. Whenever you fill up at a Love's, Pilot, Flying J, if you have a rewards card, you can get a lot of points. I know Love's, they have a special deal with FedEx Ground, and so you get more points than your average driver. At any given time, I have $300 or $400 worth of points on my Love's card, which means I never pay for snacks, drinks, Subway, whatever is at the Love's truck stop, minus McDonald's. McDonald's is not a part of the Love's program. Con, Groundhog Day. For me, it's not a problem. For a lot of guys, they don't like doing the same thing every day. So if you don't like doing the same thing every day, then that could be a con for you. You know, especially if you're on dedicated freight every night, you go somewhere and then you come back and then you repeat the process 5 or 6 days a week. If you don't like that, if that's not for you, then FedEx Ground might not be for you, or you can find, like I said, you can find a job inside of FedEx Ground being a wildman where you're not on dedicated freight. But the norm is that if you come to FedEx Ground, you're going to be on dedicated freight. Pro, light loads. The loads are very light at FedEx Ground. Anything over 20,000 pounds, to me, is considered heavy. I have had loads over 30,000 pounds, but that's very few and far between, usually during peak season, October to December. But most nights, I'm under 15,000 pounds. Again, anything over 20,000 pounds to me is pretty heavy. Con, this is my biggest pet peeve or biggest con, my personal con with FedEx Ground is the tight schedule. Very tight schedule, very, very, very little room, margin for error. For example, I go from Definiak Springs, Florida to Jacksonville, Florida and back every night. It's only 570 miles round trip. They're supposed to have the load ready and have the doors closed and sealed by 02:30 Eastern time so that I can make it back to Definiak Springs no later than 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. But normally they don't close you out on time. And even if they do close you out at 2:30, from the time it takes from you to hook up to the trailers, do your paperwork, and get out the door, depending on how good you are, about 10 or 15 minutes. So by the time you hit the road, it's already 2:40 or 2:45. And that's just cutting into your time. So by the time you hit the road, you have maybe about anywhere between a 15, 20, if you're lucky, a 30-minute window from the time that you leave the terminal to the time that they want you to be at the other terminal. And the trucks only go 65 miles an hour. So if you have to pull over and use the restroom, or if you happen to get sleepy or something happens or whatever, they'll start calling you. If you're not there on time, they'll start calling you or your contractor to see where you're at, okay? So that's something to take into consideration. There's not a lot of margin for error in this LTL FedEx Ground, type trucking. So those are my 5 pros and cons. If you drive for FedEx Ground, share with us what maybe some of your pros and cons are for driving for FedEx Ground. Like I said, overall, absolutely love it. Love working for my contractor. I worked for a contractor in North Carolina for a while. Love working for him also. So honestly, I really have no complaints, but these are just some of the things that you might want to take into consideration if you're thinking about coming into FedEx Ground. Hopefully you gained value from this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification all bell so that way you know when I'm dropping a video. My next video is going to be about how to unhook doubles. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. You guys know the deal. Fast food, fast trucks, and fast women will get you in trouble. Hard times don't last, hard truckers do. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And as always, stay smooth, my friends.